In today's video, we're actually going to be going over to my dad's to see if we can get my uncle's 46 Cadillac fired up because it's sat for like 8 years. Not that we really think anything's wrong with it, it should just fire up, but kind of want to document it because it's kind of a big deal, not only for my dad, but something that's been passed down in my family. Not only are we going to be doing that, we're actually going to be coming back here to the house. We're going to be starting over here on Blade & Z. We're going to do some compression tests with some oil in the cylinder, see if it jumps up because we did test it previously and it's rather low. I will say it's pretty even on the spectrum of compression tests, but we want to see if it's the rings or if we have a valve issue, because if it's a valve issue, we can replace the heads, no big deal, but when it comes to rebuilding the bottom end, a little more finicky and a little more expensive, actually a lot more. Still can't get over how we finished this VR4 up yesterday and how it's spinning over so nicely. I'm super excited to stop at Brad's today, hopefully if he texts me back in time. We're going to grab the heads for this that we rebuilt and cleaned up. We're actually going to grab like head bolts, a couple other things. We can actually get this all assembled and get it ready, you know, to go back in his 3000 GT. But first, we got to get started. So let's head over to my dad's house. A little teaser, because I haven't told you guys yet. Yep, we picked the DN1 up and we've got it at the house. So in other words, that means we get to work on it very soon. And honestly, as much as I wanted to sell it, I think we're going to keep it. And we arrive at the junkyard. Oh, Caddy's waiting on us. Man, I can't wait till I can live out here. But we showed up. Now it's time to get to work on this 46 Caddy. Even though it's not perfect, it is the perfect driver. I will say that. Come on, I know you guys noticed in that last video how mirror-like this thing is. So what are we doing? Just battery swap, some new gas, and firing it up?
Squirt some oil on the plugs and cylinders, take the plugs out.
Oh, I guess that explains the oil can. I need to get one of these like a Tin Man. I use syringes.
Cool.
Need some gas. You think that's where that really was?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Well, Bonnie made it like she didn't think so.
Are that way. 55 Chevys.
I wasn't sure if it was behind the plate too.
I'm pretty sure all of them. You know how they have the tail light in the back that's on the corner, the tail that sticks up? It flips up just like that.
I mean, it looks stock. It don't look like his hydraulic piston rear trunk that's all fancy. Also, we found out that the trailer brakes were smoking when he pulled back because we only replaced one of them instead of both, and you know, the sales lady didn't know any better, so another 50 bucks, whatever. It's actually pretty cheap if you ask me.
So hey Ryan, come over and wire this thing up.
Yeah, Dad's been working on this. This is a 4.8. Big displacement or nothing else. That's his thoughts. Yeah, you need to go grab that big block off Kenny.
5.3 and up.
You might have to sell me your wagon or something so I can put a cool motor in it. Not that. I'm talking. Wait, where'd this go?
Where's what go?
Wasn't the wagon just sitting here? Oh.
Yeah,
Wow, if it was a snake, it would have bit me. I even stacked moving blankets on top of it.
Not burying it.
Need to put a 2J or a RB in this thing. Doesn't smell as bad as I thought. The trim mobile. Slow and steady.
It may make it. Yeah, that's sketchy though.
Well, we didn't do too much thinking here, and like this is a Nissan and super low to the ground, we lifted the rear up where we need it, but now it's literally so low you can't get the jack in the front. Thankfully, it's not a Z, so you can lift it by the actual frame instead of the rail. We'll be back once we get it on blocks. All lifted up, and you would not believe what this thing looks like on the bottom side. I gave you a little teaser last time, but literally better than brand new. I can only imagine what they look like brand new, and it's not going to be nothing like this. Especially way back when. 46. Yeah, he's bottomed it out a few times. Scraping the frame. That's inevitable with something this low. Dang, look at that exhaust manifold. That's a honker right there. Is that a cast exhaust manifold? Probably the smallest spark plug socket I've ever seen, but
Small.
yeah, it's like tiny. I thought plug sockets were thick.
Same as what's in this motor right behind me.
Okay, we're good. What's the verdict? Hopefully some NG. Yeah, it needs some new ones. I gotta clean it up. That's weird. I've never seen a plug look like that before. It must just be really high compression pistons. I mean, my plugs have like 5 times that much thread. We at least cleaned it up a little bit to where we can find out the plug style. I don't think with all that buildup that we have that we're gonna risk it and just run it. Because that electrode is like, I don't know, almost like it's got so much buildup on it or it's melted or something. And it'd be good enough to fire up as is, but why pull 8 of these and, you know, clean them all when you could just pull them and replace them? Makes no sense. Uncle Bob was all about American, but today we're stepping into Japanese territory and getting some of them NGKs, baby. Best plugs on the market. Got our fresh new plugs, even though he went ahead, got a little too froggy throwing them in. I'm gonna do the nice thing over here and we're gonna oil them bad boys up. That one plug that we had was way better than the rest. Some of them got some mad carbon buildup. Thinking Uncle Bob definitely didn't floor it very much. We also noticed down here on our battery terminal, the bolt is actually corroded out. So we grabbed a new one to replace down here. But yes, we do have a new battery too. Big old fancy car, and here's our overflow.
Yeah. It was hard telling how long the plug's been in there. How many miles is on them or whatever. Hey, wait a minute.
Well, you don't like the taste of corrosion? Out with the old, and in with the new. All fixed, new battery mounted. Actually got it mounted in, and we turned the key. Fuel pump kicked on immediately. But we got to drain the fuel because I guarantee you it's pretty nasty if it's 7-8 years old. Safe to say that looks like motor oil. Should not be yellow.
Let that rad cast is stable.
You see there's a little bit of sediment in it too. Let's fill her up. Now that we got 5 gallons of premium in it, let's give it another shot back on the ground so when we start it, or try to start it, we don't have, you know, any absolutely tragic things happen. Back on the ground, let's set you guys up on a tripod and see if we can get her fired up. At how quiet this thing is. I was expecting this thing to scream. That's just my ignorance because it's a big block Chevy and you think, why wouldn't you have that thing open up and screaming? But let's be real, if you're driving something all the time and you're older and, you know, want to enjoy it more, you're probably not going to have that super loud, like 3-inch, no muffler kind of exhaust. Pretty impressed. It sounds good. Uncle Bob did a nice job on this thing. Thankfully today we managed to do what we actually came here for, unlike usually on my cars where there's always 10 extra steps in the way. But I guess we're gonna head back home after I go on a golf cart ride because it's hot. Dang man, I cannot see a thing. I need to clean the inside of my windshield so bad. I've really neglected this car, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I've changed the oil in well over 6 months. Oops. Oh, I wish I could do that. So it's the next day, and I had quite the rough wake-up call today. So we just got a mouse in our house the other day. We caught it finally. Well, I woke up, and I'm looking on my phone doing my casual 15-minute scroll in the morning. And I look between me and Gabby's pillow, man. I see some little droppings. So I levitated out that bed, to say the least, and we're out here bright and early today. So we're actually gonna go ahead and go over to my mom's to actually ship out this ECU to one of you guys. Actually kind of neat, dude's car's been down 8 months and I get to be the one to get it back on the road just in time to enjoy it for the rest of the season. So after we go ship this out, we're gonna head over to Brad's, grab the heads for the VR4 so we can start that next series of that video, not that engine. If someone sends you packing peanuts, you're easy. Wrap this thing up so we don't get any debris in it. Throw it up. So we just got back from Brad's. We went over there, picked up a handful of things for the VR4, both the heads, lower intake, exhaust manifolds, got the oil pan, head bolts and whatnot, so we can get this done for maybe our next video, if not the one after. All right, now we're gonna move on over to Blade & Z. We're gonna do another compression test on this thing, because if you guys don't remember, we actually had about 90 PSI per cylinder previously. So what we're gonna do today, when we do this compression test, we're actually going to drop some oil or automatic trans fluid down in the cylinders so we can actually make a seal between the ring and the piston wall. And if we have higher compression numbers, this is going to tell us that we have bad rings or bad cylinder walls. If the compression test stays about the same, then we're going to know that we have issues in the head that have to do with the valves, which usually isn't too common on the new style setups. Now I was going to make something to kind of help deliver this fluid down into the cylinder a little bit better. However, I think the best way is probably just going to be to dump it down there, since all this is going to get taken out regardless and get cleaned up. You really just want to make sure that you don't really have a bunch of debris down there, so we're not like transporting any debris down into the cylinder. I've heard to use about a full cap worth of fluid. I did pull about 5 milliliters out of this and it was very insignificant. But the biggest thing is you don't want to put a bunch in there, because you don't want to put more fluid than your combustion chamber actually combusts, because then you'll hydrolock your motor. Well, you might bend the rod, not necessarily the hydrolock. Dump that right down the spark plug tube guide as that all seeps down into the cylinder. Let's go grab our compression tester. So we got the battery kind of rigged up again, just with some vice grips and whatnot. We've got that threaded into the first cylinder. Since that is the first one we're checking, we're gonna probably go back and forth since we have all the plugs out. And really, if you have all your plugs out, it's gonna make the engine turn over a lot better. You also want to have the throttle all the way down so you can get all of the air in the engine that you can. We're actually gonna turn this so we can kind of see it, so we know once it stops moving up that we can stop cranking it. Okay. So, I already see we're having some good results over here, because it was 90, and now, look at that. The compression has doubled. It's almost 180. It's not what you want to see, honestly. It's better for it to be the heads than it is the rings, but we're going to do another test. We're going to put it in the second cylinder. I don't think we ever actually open the throttle bodies, because we don't have the balance tube on. We should be pulling enough air, but we're going to do it just in case. And the reason I don't think we ever did it to begin with is all this crud, and we've got glass in the seat, so I don't think that I actually put the gas down. Fingers crossed. Once again, about 90 PSI. So let's drop another little cap of ATF here and see if that's our issue. Just dropped a cap in. Let's try one more time. See if I guess I don't need to get all the way in here. I don't even have to keep going, I already know. Our cylinders have been washed out, or our rings have been damaged of some sort, because our compression has doubled. I guess I'm gonna message Eric. He did bring another motor by that he actually said RB26 said had low compression. It's just gonna be a matter of finding out why. Only thing about this is he trailered this from Indianapolis with an open plenum. Well, that's all super gritty. I'm just a little afraid of what that might entail, not to mention, yeah, it's what to do. So we actually just made a little short for that cylinder number 3. Technically that's number 4, but before I go and try doing the compression test ordeal to show you how to do the at-home DIY compression test on his other engine, and then also on the other one for one of you guys in the other garage, the turbo motor, I actually need to come out here and I need to mow. I don't know about you guys, but we have not had any rain for quite some time. Like, we've had one day of rain probably this last month, and the grass really isn't that tall, but I at least need to knock these 2 yards down. We'll give it a little before and after. Got the yard mowed, and well, we finally got the rain that we've been needing for like months. Ooh, I'm super dark. It's about to rain for like a week, and I'm not very happy because, you know, I kind of had someone hit me up on Marketplace that was like, hey, you want another one? It's a 30 or 44,000 mile convertible that's been T-boned, body's trashed, but it's a manual car. So it's a 44,000 mile engine and transmission. Heck yeah, gimme, dude. So we're gonna go pick that up here, hopefully in the next week, but here at the end of the week, we actually have our in-town, you know, fair or festival in Fairmount, which is actually the James Dean Festival. So basically, yes, I'm from where James Dean's from, Garfield, whatever. Small town pride, but we'll be over there for some cookouts, car shows, or just, you know, the food, because I love some food. Maybe I'll record that. I know I've made a couple videos just going up to the car show and seeing what they got in the past. We might do a little clip of that again this year. We're getting on this compression test on this other motor. So I did just went and I pick up an air nozzle so I can blow all the debris out of these runners, so that way when we do a compression test, we're not pulling any dust or debris into the engine, especially if we're going to use the auto trans fluid to test for that bump and compression to see if we have a valve or a ring issue, because if we got a bad bottom end over here, ideally we want good heads over here. So let's blow these out. Then I actually got a flywheel over here to mount up. I've got this other transmission to throw on so we can put a starter on it and hook everything up. See how it goes. We're definitely going to take the pressure plate bolts out. Those things will probably fall off if I had to guess. We're only going to use 4 bolts because, let's be real, it's not like it's driving. Snug them up and that'll be all we need. That's not going nowhere. Let's just take the extra little bit of time, move this transmission on. I have no idea if this is going to fight me. Let's get the starter hooked up and fire this thing up. So we got it all hooked up, but when we tried to crank it over, we're not having luck. I'm going to have to try to shim it out with the actual, you know, plate that goes in between the two. Got little washers right now, but even without the washers, it really just sounds like it's grinding. So basically, if you hook everything up exactly the same, you got a battery with your harness connected, check, it can do it, but we're having complications. Don't know why, but let's swap that out. See if we get a little bit of leeway here, because man, this rain sucks. Even though it's like feels good outside, the humidity is 110%. Even in the garage, I can't catch a break. I was really hoping this was going to be easy, of course, but little should I know, there's always something. So don't get down. I guess I'm talking to myself. Take it for what you will. Well, I think I've decided what we're going to do for the remainder of this video. Still super bummed that we couldn't do everything that I planned to, but you know, sometimes things just don't work out. So what we're going to do is we're going to move down here to this block that I've had in the back for quite some time. I've actually been accumulating parts for it. Kind of a big deal. It's kind of really expensive. But here's my RB25. We actually have no rotating assembly in it other than a crankshaft. Head is all assembled, but we've got all of our RB25 pistons down there. The big reason that I didn't want to run this crank is because it is an N1 crank. Not N1, S1 to an S2 crank and an RB. Basically so we have that extended oil pump collar and I don't have to worry about getting machine work to have all that done, especially since my machine shop just closed. Kind of SOL on that, so here we are. We did just pull off the coil pack cover, sat it over there, and we took her 2 bolts out that's holding the head on. So we're going to transfer this over here for now so we can actually move the bottom end in here and hook it up on that stand. One thing's for certain about these is they are not light. Bolts out. Now we should be able to muscle this thing. Yes, not as bad as I thought. Got her all loaded up on a dolly, or a cart, whatever. We're in here where we're accessible. So what we're gonna do is pull this crank out after we can get it up on the stand, flip it over. We're actually gonna take the crank to go be polished so I can actually turn around and sell it to someone who will use it. Maybe upgrade that collar. I don't know, not my problem. So let's put this over. Yeah, you get the deal. A good half an hour later and I finally got it up on the stand. That just did not go in my way at all. Of course, like everything else today. So we've got an oil pan held on by just a couple bolts. Literally a couple. There's only 2. Please don't slide off. Okay, good. Now if I remember right, the RBs have kind of a weird oil pickup, so you gotta get the right slot to take it off. Maybe not. But you can see it's kind of slotted. And we now have access to our girdle and our mains. So let's pull this dipstick out before we make any mistakes. I actually do have a brand new oil pan, new in box back there. So that smashed one, not a big deal. And you know, this whole engine was actually built in school, and they ran it on a dyno up to 2,500 RPM, 40 pounds of oil pressure, whatever. Now get this, you know what tells me that I need to take this all apart other than all of the connecting rods, one side being half as loose as the other because they didn't go back and check that other side? Check this out. Red RTV for an oil pan. Nothing says I don't know what I'm doing the right way than red RTV on anything on the engine. It doesn't belong on the engine. It's for exhaust related stuff. It's good for like up to 500-600 degrees. Stop using it for oil. It's not just the one all seal all. Yes, it works, but it's not right. Now thankfully, I actually loosened this up, so we should be able to pry the rear main retainer off. So now we're gonna pull off all of our mains. We're probably gonna start on the outside, work our way in, just loosen them up so we can pull this thing out. That's another thing. Look how toast that crank is. Blatant gouge. Ah, come on, man. You couldn't think of this before going through all the extra steps. Why would you even put it together if it's not good to go? An engine this expensive. That's all I can keep thinking. Hopefully there's 17s and we're good. Let's grab a 17. I don't know, for some reason that looked weird, like there's supposed to be washers there or something. You know, now that I look at this, oh, you know, note to self, short ones up here in the front. I had no idea there was different size mains. Well, maybe it's just long in the rear. Yeah, that's what it's looking like. The more you know. Can't wait to learn more stuff about RBs, I cannot lie. Ooh. Come on, you can't, is that real? Maybe. There's a long bolt here and a short bolt here for the mains. Note to self yet again, because I don't want to goof that up on reassembly. Hopefully I can reuse this stuff. I don't really plan on going ARP or anything too crazy with it. Well, that girdle isn't very sandwiched in. That's very nice. Not that we're going to reuse them, but hopefully we don't lose a bunch of bearings. Nice. Looks like we actually used some ACLs. Not too bad. Realistically, it's not that much heavier than a V-style crank. I mean, the bearings look decent. No, there's definitely some unwanted. Yeah, did a little nice swipe on the inside of the bearing. Look at all that grease or debris. Definitely not what you want. Yep, looks like there's buildup in that one too. Dang. This is why we do things right, people. I understand he was in school and learning, but I just feel like maybe the teacher should have been a little better. Who knows? I just know it's ultimately I'm the one to blame because I bought this thing and it's been a huge regret of mine. I'd just rather buy a factory one that's used, running, instead of having to put all the pieces together. Whatever, but here we are. You can definitely see some scuffs over here on this one. Looks like it's been hit with sandpaper or something. So that's probably due to all the contaminants. Womp womp. We definitely need to get some new bearings. Not that we weren't already, but you know. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research. I would obviously like to go forge and go crazy with this, but since I have an absolute brand new crank, I'm wondering if they do the same thing on the RBs that they do on the VGs, where they have a certain stamp for each main, each rod, you know. Yep. They've got grades right here. Sure enough, so that tells us what the condition of the crank is, and we'll kind of add these numbers together or subtract them. Can't remember which one. It's one or the other. And then we got to check the block. So realistically, we need to check the 26 crank in the parts room beforehand. Maybe get the graded bearing sets. I don't know. We may run extra oil clearance just for safety reasons. So we got a little bit of deciding to do here, safe to say. But that's going to be it for this video. I'm happy I at least got this apart, get a rough idea of, you know, how it is. And we get to look forward to building this. The reason I'm kind of wanting to stray away from Ford stuff, I need to measure the bores, make sure that they're correct, make sure the cross hatching, everything's good. If that's good and checks out in this factory, then we'll move on to stock size pistons maybe. I'm really trying to avoid the machine shop with any of this, especially since mine closed and I'm just not too comfortable with any other ones around here currently, but whatever, maybe we'll figure something out. Maybe some of you guys have some info, tips, or tricks or anything for us. Feel free to drop it down in the comment section. Which, speaking of, in the comments, I cannot comment on my shorts videos for some reason. I can only reply to some, and lately it's not been showing me everything. It says I've already responded to stuff when I haven't even seen it. So if I've missed your comment, I'm sorry. I try to stay on it, but for some reason, I don't know, tech issues, maybe it's my super old phone that I really need to upgrade. Something's got to give. Yeah, I apologize about that, but I guess we're going to call the shop, see if they can do this. Dude does do like everything American, so he did my VG, that Mitsubishi. We should be all right, but okay, Caden, stop talking. Thank you guys for watching, and if you haven't already, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe down below. Stay tuned to the channel, and stay tuned for this RB build and more content. Thank you guys for watching as always, and we will catch you in the next one. Peace.